What makes you say no turns you off at an audition? One of the many bullet points I answered with was dancing like a class dancer. One of the most common responses you had was, can you explain what you mean by a class dancer? This is my opinion, and I used the term class dancer to encompass a whole range of habits that dancers can have. Of course, not only is it great to take class, it is necessary. So I do not mean that it's bad to take class. The general gist is a class dancer has habits they can't undo that are influenced by the classes they take. Now, what would be most useful is for me to show you examples, but I really don't want to put anybody on the spot, so I'm gonna demo for you instead. All right, let's do the high. We'll do a side-by-side so you can already see the difference between the two.
My lips are creeping up your neck. You shiver and try to pull back.
Let's break it down. What are the habits that I'm talking about? Changing musicality, adding performance choices, milking, texture, reverb, without it being motivated by the music or instruction. None of these elements are bad in and of themselves. They're just a problem when students aren't taught how to use these elements properly. It also includes generic emotional facial expressions and growling when it's not called for. Open ribs, which means you're not using your center at all. Leading with your heel when you walk. So when I say a class dancer, I mean a dancer who doesn't know how to turn off those habits, even when they're given a note. That habit is so ingrained in them. These habits do permeate into your facial expression, the clothes that you wear, the way you walk into a room. You tend to be more of a passive participant in a room and you lack a point of view generally. You're likely taking from the same teacher who teaches the same style all the time, or you are dancing around dancers who all dance the same. I'm watching your solo videos and you might look great, and then I'll keep scrolling and I'll see a solo where I know the choreography, and then the whole house of cards comes crashing down because I know what the choreography is supposed to be and I do have a reference point. These habits can be a crutch that mean that you're compensating for not knowing the movement and not knowing how to perform the movement. You're often not dancing in context. Dancing in a class is so different from dancing in an audition, and dancing in an audition is different from dancing on a job. So if you can't go from class to audition, I'm definitely not going to trust that you can go from audition to job. You're dancing on an island without any reference to the music or the other dancers in the room. I like to see people execute choreography exactly as it's demonstrated, unless told otherwise. And for me, most of the jobs I do are all varied in what style they are. A great professional dancer can morph into whatever the choreographer is asking for. They either don't have these habits or they can change the habit if given a note. And that includes if you're asked to add texture and reverb and milking. So what can you do about it if this applies to you? That is a whole different conversation on how to fix these things. But if you've been coming to pro night, you have seen me call this out left and right. It's the number one thing we're working on. In the pro night classes, it sounds counterintuitive, but what we're doing is taking those class tendencies out of the dancer so that you're equipped with tools to make you be able to work with every choreographer in every style and nail every audition. Hopefully this helped at least answer the question of what I meant by the phrase. Comment below with any questions.